My name is RJ, and I am puck possessed, as many of you are. Some of you may have seen me last year at the Van Heck in 2018, where I briefly talked about displaying shot data in a more user-friendly way, in a 3D version. And you may have also seen my name on the Hockey Abstract 2018 update by Rob Fallman, where I helped him this year to graphically enhance it a little bit. And lastly, there was a question last year if I was related to Dale Weiss. I still have not been able to convince him that that is the case. So, and on the side here, I do a lot of Tableau work. That's kind of what brings me to this conference. Playing with the data, obviously, like many of you do. And I mostly visualize the data in Tableau. And that's also what I do for a living. What I'm talking about is mostly for these two guys. My two sons, 5 and 7 years old. They're playing a nice backyard rink, and I'm sure they're going to be superstars. I'm not sure it's going to be in the NHL, given my height and my wife's 5'2" height. Who knows, but by that time, maybe speed and skill is so important that height doesn't matter anymore, so you never know. But if building a backyard rink and playing with Tableau in the time that you're not working is not nerdy enough, I also paint these types of figures, the McFarlane figures, and if there's any fans around here, you'll know that unfortunately they don't make them anymore. They sold it to a different company that makes awful figures. And without being too pushy, my kids of course need to be a little exposed to that as well. I don't know if anybody knows these. The average age here doesn't lead to me thinking you have kids yet, so you'll get there, you'll get there. Anyway, so I was listening to a podcast where Ryan was one of the speakers, and he had given the advice to never talk about a book until it's actually finished, because otherwise people would keep asking you when it's done. I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to tell you that I am working on a book. My big advantage is that I have no drive to finish it anytime soon. I'm doing it purely as a hobby, so I just wanted to share with you that I am working on a book that really focuses on the visual aspects of data analysis and visualization of hockey graphs. And the goal is more to really make a book that I can show to my kids when they're a bit older, introduce them to some mathematical concepts, etc., but all in a fun way to look at. I've always had an obsession with visuals. You can see a picture here from my some screenshots of my personal collections. I don't know if there's any soccer fans in here, but I thought this Ajax against Real Madrid picture from 1973 was very timely. As you may know, Ajax beat Real Madrid 4-1 in Madrid. And if you read Ryan's book, you'll see that it all goes back to Johan Cruyff and Rinus Michels, who were part of the inspiration of his book, if I'm not incorrect here. Anyway, visual storytelling I think is important. We do see a lot of graphs and talks about math and stats that are very interesting and sometimes hard to understand for people that are not really into that. So that's kind of a niche that I'm trying to fill with cool and fun stuff, and also, as I said, expose some of those mathematical ideas to kids at a younger age. So far I've built about 15 of them, and I'm just publishing them through Twitter. Some of them are interactive and use Tableau as part of the visualization. Some are just strictly infographics almost, and I'll just highlight a few of them. Here I'm looking at some analysis on power plays of 2 minutes, and then looking at where teams actually score. And at the top graph, you can see that over the 120 seconds of the power play and where the teams fall. And then I created this arc to show that a little clearer. And again, in a visually attractive and fun way. Another thing I did was looking at the nationalities of the players in the NHL, and I think we all know how our friend Don Cherry thinks about that. but I also found a picture from, I believe, the 1700s in the Netherlands where they played something like hockey already, so we could have a good argument about that over a beer in the pub later on. I'll quickly go through this. This is just a visual of Pettersson looking at Boser, trying to get the puck behind the defense, and it's going to do an imitation of the Swedish chef, but I'll skip that because the time's almost done. Here's an infographic of just the type of shot attempts and how they are divided between the different options, and this is one of those interactive ones where you can pick your own player. I'll quickly go through here. Here's some face-offs, but the scenarios can be handpicked, so you can say who's the best face-off taker when you're one man down and you are in the offensive zone, for example. This is about money. There's free money here. These are all bills for $79.5 million. I'll leave them here in case you want to take one home, but this is one of those things where you spend more on something simple like this that almost disappears in the actual visual, but was fun to do. But like I said, I have some lying around here if you're interested. And the main reason I'm bringing this up is I would love to hear some tips or feedback and comments from either people that have written books or after seeing this that have some ideas that I may not have thought about. And even if you feel like I'm on completely the wrong track, I'd love to hear that from you. So thank you very much.